What is going on, guys? So I'm going to be putting my piston rings on the pistons for the Accords H22. So I got a little bit to do. I'm still waiting on the bearings to come in, and I still got to order all my seals for the oil pump from Honda parts now. I still haven't placed that order. I'm probably ordering like $300 something worth of seals, and for most seals I do go OEM for a majority of them, especially like when it comes down to like some of the ones I don't want to really do, such as the oil pump and stuff again in like a few years. Then yeah, I go OEM. So show you what I got going on over here. I'm putting these Nippon piston rings in, and I've already gotten the oil control in 3 of them. I'm going to show you how to put them in the 4th one, just in case you're curious. Now, I've already taken these pistons down, I've cleaned them, and I'll kind of run y'all over what has all transpired off of camera. So let me clear a little space here so I can put my tripod to... dropped one of my little things. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera around the other way for y'all. Okay, so what's going on, guys? I got my Nippon piston rings here. The other ones are still in the box. Those are the compression ones, which are for upper 1 and 2. And then you're going to also have your oil control rings, which are right here. This is the piston I'm showing y'all on. This is just an OEM rod and piston from an H22a4. Here are the OEM piston rings I've kept all these years because I've already built this motor once, but I just want to show y'all the difference between Nippon and OEM. Now, however, Nippon is a good quality. You can get these rings for around $40. And they make a lot of factory rings. I don't believe they make Hondas. I believe maybe they had a contract with them once, but I can't verify that, so don't listen to me. So anyway, so you're going to start off with your oil control ring. Here's the one from Honda. Let's see if I can get it to focus. But you can see the pattern on it. You see how it swivels up and down? Well, this one doesn't, and that's Nippon. Another thing is you can see how you can clearly separate this, right? And that could honestly, easily, like say you overextended or heats up, you could easily have a oil control ring that locks into each other or something and cause some really nasty stuff. The likely chances of it are slim to none, because once it's in there, it kind of holds its own self apart. But anything's possible. The one thing I like about Nippon is you'll see that when it comes apart, it has this little metal rod right here, or that little metal wire. And that little metal wire is basically keeps it in line and will also keep it from overlapping each other. So that's what we're going to start with. Oil control ring. We're going to start by putting this one on there. Okay, and I'm going to make sure that I can get it all compressed here. Give me 1 second. Now, before you go just replacing piston rings, what I highly recommend is what I did here is I actually went through and I cleaned out all the grooves and stuff to get all the old crud off. Don't ever clean off your skirts. Yeah, there'll be a little scratch or whatever, but don't polish them or anything abrasive. You can clean them off with a rag, but I wouldn't use anything too abrasive because, and you don't want to smooth them out, because some people say they'll polish their pistons and they'll polish this part, and that can be very bad because that's literally how oil sticks in there and oil gets up and down your cylinder walls, and you want oil to kind of honestly catch a little bit in here, so that you want there to be like there's a little bit of that going on. So you want to be able to, for oil to stick to it, basically what I'm trying to say. Up here you can polish, you can do whatever the heck you want, really, for the most part. I kind of just leave it alone. I leave the OEM stuff on it. I just get it all cleaned off with a wire wheel, basically. So what I'm going to do with here is I'm going to stick this next one right below this ring here, and I'm just going to kind of gently work it. You don't want to bend these, but you really don't have to worry about bending them, as they are pretty malleable. And the good thing is so one goes on top, one goes on bottom, but the good thing is why I always keep OEM is when I get piston rings in, is if I want to compare them, that way to see if I need to file them or whatever, because they have some file fit rings, but these should be direct fit, and you can see that it directly lines up with OEM gap and whatnot, so you don't have to worry about gapping your own piston rings. However, you do have to worry about gap, so let me try to find the opening. This is what I was taught when I worked at Honda, and I would do all these fucking misfire codes on the 3.5 liter V6s. I did so many of those. So here we go. We got this one right here. And so I'm going to go like about 180 from it. I'm going to start it over here, and I'm going to send this one, and it's going to sit right on top. I'm sorry if my camera's being blurry, guys. Set that one on the bottom. So there you go. You got a nice little compression going there, or sorry, oil control ring. One on the top, one on the bottom. Starts here, about 180 over. You got the top one. So roughly, we can move it over a little bit. And there you go. That's the oil control rings. Let me get these other ones out, and it's cool because when Nippon sends them to you, you don't got to worry about mixing them up. First, second, and then it'll even say third ring, which are the oil ring, which is this. So you know, first goes on top, second goes on bottom. So you don't got to worry about getting them mixed up. Also, you'll notice the second are slightly thinner than the first. So really, there's almost impossible to mix them up, but anything's possible. Let me stop the camera real quick. I gotta run and do something, and I'll be right back. Okay, so it's always wise when you're doing piston rings, start from bottom, go to the top. And even if you're worried about it, the box comes with nifty instructions. Thoroughly clean ring grooves of pistons. I already did that. Fit the oil control, followed by compression rings, and then sending order into the ring grooves using a ring tool. I don't use a ring tool, I just use my hands, obviously, as you can see. And that's what we did. So oil one's on, right? And then, so we got the oil one on, and then it says take care to fit the rings with marked faces upward and toward the top of the piston. I'm going to show you all what it means by that. So when you get the new rings in, you'll see, if my camera will focus. No, it doesn't want to focus. You can see that the letter N, anyway, is right here. There's nothing on the back side, no marks or indications. So that one's going to go up. So what we're going to do is, as well as I'm going to check and make sure that we still got proper ring gap between OEM and this one to make sure I don't got to file it. And would you look at that? Perfect gap, right? So you don't got to file these. These are nice. Here is the part number. Really, if you just look up Nippon and H22a4, whatever you have, it'll come up. So remember, letter facing up, and we're going to just basically get that one started there. Just a little bit. There you go. Boom. First compression ring is on. So that's nice. And then I'm going to go and I'm going to open up the ones that say number 1. I'm going to do the same thing. These will also be marked. Packets are pretty tight sometimes. Okay, they have an N on them as well. And we're going to do the same thing with the compression rings. They're going to be about 180 apart. And there we go. Okay guys, so I got this thing from Wiseco. Here's the part number and what it does. And basically when you go to put the motor in the block, what you're going to do is slide it down via this way. This is for 87mm pistons. And you're going to make sure that all your piston rings are good to go. And basically what that's going to do is and then you're just going to gently tap it down there. You'll oil all that up, and that'll just compress the rings and put it perfectly in the cylinder for you. This is probably the best compression tool for ring compressing that you could get. It's direct fit for 87mm. They run roughly $40 or so. Maybe you can get them less. I think I saw them like $31 somewhere. Part number again, CS08700, and the specs of it. So it's a very, very handy tool if you're ever building motors. I used to have this adjustable one, and we use something like this in Honda. I used to have this adjustable one, and it was hot garbage. It did the job, but I mean, it was a pain in the ass. This is a lot better to use, guys. I'm telling y'all now. But yeah, guys, I'm gonna stop the video right here for this part because you just do all the pistons the exact same as this. I'm gonna install the rest of these rings on the other pistons, and I just gotta wait for bearings and whatnot to come in as well. All right, guys. Finally, I got the right bearings in. Oh, let me clean my camera off real quick. Finally, I got the right bearings in. I've already installed them, and what I'm using, I'll show y'all. I've used this graphite stuff before. It's pretty good stuff, but this time I decided to go with the Permatex engine lube, and I'll show y'all what that looks like here and give y'all a part number for that. But I'm also going to show y'all me installing the crankshaft into the motor. So let me get my camera stand as well. Okay, guys, it is an absolute mess up here, but as you can see, they sent me the actual proper thrust washer. It is a 55 millimeter main. It's weird that it doesn't say 2 liter or 2.2 liter Honda, but it fits. Trying out these. These are, y'all probably hear my daughter in the background. This is for your TPS sensor, throttle position sensor, and those gaskets always break, the paper ones. So I'm trying out these rubber ones to see how they hold up. I'm sure after a while the heat will get to them as well, but I'm assuming they'll probably last a bit longer. As far as the bearings, flip it around. I did finally get the right ones in, and the right engine bearings. OEM. Anyway, so here is the stuff I'm using, Ultra Slick. It is pretty tacky stuff. I'm not gonna lie, you can actually see here where it did this, but like, look, I'll show you. Like, you see how stringy that is? Which is good because you want that kind of stuff. So I layered all underneath the bearings before I put them down, and some on top. And then also, guys, like I said, don't forget your thrust washers. They go this way with the oil channels on the inside so it can get oil, which is right here. You'll see like this little alleyway like right here. That's for oil to get in there. And because if you put them backwards, you're going to wear those thrust washers out and you're going to fuck your shit up. So that is like literally like a little oil channel. You can see them on both sides, and that's to get oil to those places. So let me put my camera right over here. If I can put it down on top of all this stuff and it stay nice and steady. Let me pick up my crankshaft and put it in. Remember, timing starts this way, so this snout's going to go this way. It's all polished and stuff. I'm going to gently place it in there. There it goes. Alright, guys. Crankshaft is in there. I'll turn my hand a few times. I'm still waiting on parts, which is why I'm not going to put this on yet, because I'm still waiting on HondaPartsNow.com to ship my order of gaskets. I ordered like $300 worth of OEM gaskets. Hopefully they'll be in next week is what I'm going to go ahead and assume. Because they said some of the stuff they didn't have, so they had to order it. I'm not really sure where they get their stuff from. I'm guessing the dealership, obviously, because it's OEM stuff. So I gotta wait for that. But we got the bottom bearings in, cranks back in, and this thing spins really nice by hand. Obviously, there's no pistons or piston ring in there as it should, but nice and smooth. You can see where the oil runs on those bearings. And so one thing I want to kind of show y'all is the difference between the OEM and the ACL Race Bearing. So this is for the main. And when installing them, you'll see these little nipples. It's like you can't go wrong. Just pay attention when you're doing it. I've seen people get it wrong. Make sure those tabs go into little indentions in there. So the only difference I can physically tell is you can actually see that the ACL bearings hole is much bigger for better oil control. And another weird thing is, if you look at Hondas, you see the little like notches in there, and the inside of this, it's kind of like wavy. This one's completely smooth, I guess, for better oil control. Or I don't know. I don't know why Honda's does that. Like literally every single one of them. I'm not a bearing expert, guys, so, but you can see how. Oh, let's see if it focuses. You can see those little lines on the very inside of that thing. This one's just pure smooth. And I'm talking about on the very inside of this little indentation ring here where the oil runs. Smooth. So those are two of the differences I noticed between the ACL and the OEM, just to show y'all. I've used ACL in probably 6 or 7 H22 motors. I trust them. It's good stuff. I'm not going to put those bearings on yet until I get the other parts in here. But just to show y'all, like, for instance, this is a main cap, and there's that little indentation. That's where this little indentation, see, that's nothing. That's just oil. It's going to fit in just like this, and you'll feel it click in like that. And I'm just going to take that out. I have not sanded this side yet, so I'm going to have to sand and polish the main cap. And then once that's done, well, once my seals come in, because I'm waiting on, if you look down here, there's an O-ring that goes here. It probably didn't need to be replaced, but I'm going to go ahead and replace it just to be on the safe side while the motor's apart. So that's what's keeping that from going on. In case y'all wonder, like, why isn't he putting the main caps on? Because I'm waiting for those seals, and you're probably like, what seal? Well, there's an O-ring that goes right here. So we're going to wait for that to come in. Also, another thing that did come in is my flex hone. Although I don't feel like I want to use this. It is a 600 grit and whatnot, but I'm afraid I'll oversize my journals if I do that. So I'm just going to leave it alone. But for future references, if I ever get anything that needs to be, this is an 88 millimeter, but its working capacity, I think it was like 70 to an 89 roughly, is what it says for working zone. It's pretty interesting. This thing was like probably $70. I've heard do and don't do FRM sleeves. Mine are good, so I don't really want to fuck with them. So do that, and my daughter's still freaking out inside, guys. So that's all I wanted to film tonight, is just showing y'all how that's done. But this thing's coming along, and hopefully I can get this all back together soon and slapped into the cord, and then we can make some vroom vroom noises. But yeah, guys, trucking along. Really, the slow part is waiting on parts. In case you're wanting to look up these rubber gaskets, some kind of thing called K-Motor Performance. So yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope this helps. And this is just a little update. Make sure y'all please like, share, and subscribe. Like I said, this is just part 1. There's going to be several more parts of it coming once parts start rolling in. Once the other parts roll in, I'll probably do a part 2, and I'll finish up the entire block in part 2. But for now, this is what we got so far. And it's like, this is like effortlessly rolling over. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, and then before, obviously, before I put a little bit of that Permatex in here. But before I actually like put the main caps on, I will put more on each of these, just to make sure we got plenty of oil. Like, it's already dripping down here. But it's good to make sure that everything's nice and oiled up, especially because you don't want to dry start it. And I like how tacky that Permatex is. Before I was using this stuff. And it does this stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's nothing bad. It's VRC stuff. But yeah, I wanted to try something different this time. I've built a couple of motors, probably 3 or 4 of them with that, with no issues. And so sometimes when old things work, people don't want to change it up, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about this Permatex oil assembly, so I'm going to try that out. Guys, before I keep blabbing on, I love y'all. Make sure y'all please like, share, and subscribe. We're almost to 400 subscribers. We're like 40 away, maybe 35, something like that, so I'm pretty stoked. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for helping my channel grow. I know it doesn't sound like a lot, but I'm surprised that 350 people want to hear me fucking blabber for 20 minutes in each video. Anyway, guys, y'all have a wonderful night.